Hey, my brothers, this is Davi speaking. Man, Chico Linguiça João Canabraba attacked Dr. Enéas. I'm talking here about Renan Santos, right? From the Mission Party, Chico Linguiça João Canabraba. This guy, man, he has the charisma of a roadkill toad baking on the asphalt. He's a guy who expresses himself poorly, a guy who looks even worse than I do. He's a guy, my brother, who wouldn't even win an election for Condo Board president. But he's ahead there from the Mission Party founded by the MBL. And I've heard that there are a lot of hidden forces behind the MBL, right? But since I can't prove it, I'd rather stay quiet about it. My reason for making this video today is because he attacked Dr. Enéas. I already made a video when they did this back then. It's not something new. Many people are messaging saying they're surprised by what he said and didn't expect it. So my brother, you're really naive or you're not well informed because it's not the first time they've attacked Dr. Enéas. Dr. Enéas already exposed these guys a long time ago, even before they existed. In this video here, which I want you to watch with me, listen to what Dr. Enéas used to say about the system's candidates, and the Mission Party is part of the system. So listen to this here.
Dr. Enéas, this plan that's in place, once the candidate is elected, can it still be fixed?
Yes, if the system's candidate, the front runner, he will carry out a wild privatization. He will continue transferring public assets to multinational companies. Electricity, oil, the subsoil, and even the atmospheric air will be privatized.
So, that's the proposal of the Mission Party, to take everything in Brazil that has any value and privatize it. That's why they want to do this. How well Dr. Enéas used to explain what this would lead to, right? Dr. Enéas had true patriots by his side like Adriano Benayon and Dr. Batista Vidal, who were people that explained why this wouldn't work. Adriano Benayon's book, Globalização versus Desenvolvimento, is not a book of political proposals laying out a political program. It's a historical analysis. A historical analysis of the great empires, of the hegemonic nations, those that grew and those that once were and ceased to be, right? That fell, what they did to fall, and what others did to grow. So, the book does that. It's a historical review of the past itself, right? Of the great nations globally. So, it's not about whether you or I agree or disagree. There's nothing for you to agree with. Those are historical facts that are there. It's indisputable. In fact, the book even becomes a bit boring because there are a lot of sources for you to do your own analysis if you want to, right? Today, with artificial intelligence, the book becomes excellent because you can confirm all the data that's presented there. So, it's really worth it. I've already recommended it to you. Globalização versus Desenvolvimento. So, establishment candidates, right, whose only goal is to hand over the assets, because that's what they were put there to do. And if you stop to think, Enéas went through a lot to make the plan. He really struggled. He even became poorer during this process. If you look at it recently, Bolsonaro himself tried to create a party and couldn't do it. Then these guys come along with tremendous irrelevance on various issues and they managed to do it. Why? Forces are working behind the scenes, my brothers. Anyway, I can't prove it, but people say they're puppets of some representatives of the international system. But anyway, let's talk about what he said. I'll play a video of a guy who gave a really good answer. Them, right? I didn't even want to talk either, guys, because honestly, I'll explain what MBL is trying to do, because they know they're not going to win. But they're kind of using the same strategy as Cabo Daciolo, right? Our dear Corporal No Brains. First, watch this guy talk. I'll stay quiet.
Fernando Santos mentioned Dr. Enéas. Dr. Eder.
It's Enéas.
Terrible parliamentarian.
Useless. You offend me by saying that ours...
Enéas. He was a doctor, 3rd Sergeant in the Army, graduated in medicine, physics, mathematics, a master and president of the Cardiology Society of Rio de Janeiro. He surprised the entire Brazil's Superior Electoral Court after studying the Brazilian Electoral Code on his own and founding and managing his party Prona with money from his own pocket. There's really no way to compare you, Renan Santos, who is an open supporter and user of hallucinogenic drugs. In fact, you've even been accused of study. I served in the past.
Prona was a party full of junk. The mission of this kind of promo was no. The mission won't have Dr. Alvanera and a bunch of idiots. It was a mess.
Prona had scientists, doctors, economists, generals, admirals, Air Force brigadiers. What MBL calls junk are people who are specialists in every possible field. Like Jose Walter Wotke Bautista Vidal, who had a PhD in nuclear physics from Stanford University. He served as Secretary of Science and Technology and was one of the creators of ProAlcool. MBL calls people like Adriano Benayan junk despite his being a diplomat with a doctorate in economics from the University of Hamburg, Germany. He was simply the Senate's economic consultant and deputy head of the Technological Cooperation Division at Itamaraty. That's the so-called junk. He was the one leading Enéas' party, while Renan's party is led by people like Arthur Duduval, who is ineligible because he tried to engage in sex tourism in Ukraine with women affected by the war.
They're easy because they're poor.
And Guto Zacharias, who tried to abort his own daughter. We are practically a construction.
You weren't able to create a minimally decent political party structure, okay? You couldn't train people, and the project died with him because the core of Enéas' project was Enéas himself. The party's program was essentially my name, Enéas.
It's impressive that Renan lies without shame. Dr. Enéas published 2 editions of his government program, the Great National Project on the country's development, covering topics just now being discussed. Enéas was the first to denounce George Soros' involvement in national politics. Professor George Soros, a global mega speculator, about the purchase of state-owned companies by drug trafficking groups, the audit of public debt, the importance of niobium, aquifers, and renewable energies. This isn't even a third of the bibliography that was written, of government projects and proposals developed by Prona. There's Jose Walter Bautista Vidal, you have Marcos Coimbra, Admiral Gama y Silva. There are countless books, and then Renan Santos comes and says, no, Enéas' project was just my name, it's Enéas. You're right, Renan Santos, this isn't a real project. Real politics is suggesting a TikTok challenge for public health.
Putting Ozempic in the South, just to be real, don't compare something as multifaceted as ours, which spreads internationally and has an educational character, with something like Prona.
It's true, you can't compare Prona to MBL. MBL is a movement that, with all resources and social media, promotes itself through goths, furries, and pharma aura dance videos. Each 70-20 plus 20 plus 20. Even so, MBL is considered a joke. Meanwhile, Enéas, without even having 15 seconds to appear, is considered a hero nowadays because he left a legacy. The legacy that our country can truly wake up with genuine and true nationalism. A legacy that MBL calls... Look.
Guys, I could stay here, right? Showing you who these people are. The reasons why he said Enéas' people were idiots, right? He was on Enéas' side. And what about those on his side? You take Arthur Duduval, the guy used to dress up as Zana, right? To make videos as Zana. He went to Ukraine at a time, I don't remember if there was a flood here in our country. I don't remember if it was in Santa Catarina or if it was already that one in Rio Grande do Sul. But I remember there was a flood at that time. And a lot of people were like, wow, a lot of channels asking for help, right? Hey guys, send it here to me and all that. And what does Mama Fali do? He asked for donations to take to Ukraine, right? To take money from here to there. It's as if Brazil was in a position to help a European country, but that's what he does. So he goes as a lawmaker, but he was on break, but he was a congressman, and he goes to make Molotov cocktails. Risky even, right? Literally getting involved in an international incident. Not satisfied. Can you imagine the situation? It's this kind of guy that proves the feminist movement, right? Why? Because many times, right? Many of these feminists say that men just want to take advantage of women when they're vulnerable. The guy goes there to take advantage of her in that moment. And what did Mama Fale do? I don't even need to say it. I'm going to play this audio because it has context. I'm actually going to stop. I won't play the whole thing. I'll just give you the context here so you can think about it, all right? Listen, and I'll give you the context. Listen up.
I'm just going to say one thing to you. I just crossed the border on foot here from Ukraine to Slovakia. Dude, I swear to God, never in my life. Look, I'm 35 years old, man. Never in my life, never have I seen anything like this. In terms of beautiful women. Man, the line of refugee women, bro, like this. Imagine a line, I don't know, man. I don't even know. I'm speechless, dude. Like a line, I don't know, like 200 meters long. But only like nothing but goddesses, man. It's just, it's unbelievable. It's crazy, man. It's out of this world. If you take the line at the best club in Brazil, at the best time of the year, it doesn't even come close to the line of refugees. Man, here's the thing. I'm not well. I'm sad because it's unbelievable. Yes, they are. It's called gold diggers, right? I've got this friend, Renan. He takes a trip every year. It's just that in the last 3 years he hasn't done it. He calls it the blonde tour. That's what he does. He travels to different countries just to hook up with blondes. But he already has techniques. He's advanced. To begin with, he speaks Swedish. So, like, the guy is addicted to this, and he gave me some tips. For example, I've got this friend, Renan. He takes a trip every year. It's just that in the last 3 years he hasn't. He calls it Tour de Blonde, Renan. He takes a trip every year. In the past 3 years, he hasn't done it. He calls it Tour de Blonde. So what does he do? He travels to different countries and just goes to hook up with blondes. But he already has techniques. He's advanced. For starters, he speaks Swedish. So the guy's addicted to this.
So for him, right, the idiots are the ones who were with Dr. Enéas. The guy is an economics professor. The guy is a diplomat. They were idiots. But the guy who goes to Ukraine, going to Ukraine for sex tourism isn't. And my brothers, the most interesting point is that Arthur Duval himself, revealed who put this idea in his head. It was Renan Santos himself. The guy who wants nothing more, nothing less than to be president of the republic. Did a lot of people forget this part of the audio? He says, right, my friend Renan Santos has been doing this. He hasn't done it for 3 years, but he does this all the time. He even learned to speak Swedish. I mean, these guys look at girls who could be their sisters, their cousins, right? Daughters. He goes there. And instead of, like many people would do, crying when seeing the situation of those families, those people, houses destroyed by missiles, by drones, bodies scattered everywhere, right? Often under that rubble. So, lines of refugees, people who have to line up to leave the city, to eat, to receive supplies. He looks at that and what does he feel? A fetish. The guy's insensitivity is so great that he compares it to shallow people going to a nightclub. Did you see what he compares it to, right? You pick the hottest girl from the clubs, right? So that's the kind of guy who wants to get into power. And if those guys got there, my brothers, they would be worse than the PT, way worse than the PT. You can be sure of that. They're a mix of dictators and PT supporters. They're not right-wing. Those promises they make, right? No, caught, killed, and I don't know what else. It's all nonsense, right? And see, it doesn't sound like the speech of Dr. Enéas, who was truly a nationalist. It doesn't sound like the speech of any global right-winger. None. None. When you look at the whole world, you don't see it. It sounds a lot like those speeches we've seen, right, from the communists. Let's send them to the firing squad. Let's shoot them up. Let's give them a good bullet like we showed with that professor.
We know that you are our enemy, but considering that you, as you claim, are a good person, we are willing to offer you the following. A good firing squad where we will put you in front of a good shotgun with a good bullet, and after a good shovel, we'll offer you a good grave, right? With the right wing and conservatism, no dialogue. Fight.
And that's why I insist, and I will keep insisting, and I will write wherever I have to write. They have a political project, the religious fundamentalists, those wretches, which is only getting stronger. So, voluntary civil marriage is going to be very hard to achieve because this damn word, damn word is there, vada, of feeling crystal. This can happen in the 21st century, so we have to put an end to it. But I know that I'm willing to take up arms if that's... I'm
not a pushover, and I can't tolerate criminals committing crimes right in front of me. That's why we support arresting and killing, since we don't have power, right? No power feels like a slap in the face. Next comes arrest and kill, right?
It's something I promised Amanda this year. Yeah, okay, no, like this. I'm going to start going to church. I'm going to start being...
Even the most influential new American intellectual, Mr. Kurtz and Arvin,
Simply man Mencius Mobag Kurtz Arvin, much to the absolute horror of the pathetic Nuno Mora. He not only attended Congress, but also gave a great interview to Pedro Dero. So if you're a Valley Plus subscriber, man, today there's an interview with Kurtz and Arvin on there.
We're going to broadcast this. We're going to grab the guy, put some tires on him, tie his arms, set him on fire, and show what happens to those who act like tough guys here in Brazil. I think that would be a measure that in a very short time would make crime rates drop drastically.
About the guy, and usually the people who want to use him are elderly, right? Man, for me, bro, I think I would sacrifice. Death is an angel.
This guy in the campaign.
Monster.
I was friends with Ben Pontes and that was it. Everyone attacks Bara TV. It's the guys on the right, the guys on the left. All because I'm a Nazi. Can you believe that? They are white children with good genes. White in soul, okay? It's not enough to just have white skin. There are plenty of white people out there who are leftists, who are potheads. There are plenty of Aryans out there who aren't Aryans anymore. They've already lost their spiritual identity. They're already, in fact, ready to reincarnate as a pig or something even more horrendous, right? I had a collegial relationship with Ben Pontes, who's from MBL, advisor to Guto Zacharias, and with Ricardo Almeida, right, who were on my podcast. Now, both of them are quiet because they've been gagged, right? MBL put a gag on them. I understand them perfectly. Even if they speak badly about me, I understand. I know how it is. The Zionist roots in MBL, right? And Ben Pontes, he loved my posts there, supporting the white cause and nationalism in Brazil, liked the posts, exchanged messages with me, supported it. But then the little Freemason came and told him to shut up. And now the kid is stuck there, can't say anything, is gagged. That's what MBL is.
The left doesn't know what Christianity is. They just point fingers and say, we're not real Christians. I am a Christian. My mother taught me to love my neighbor.
Your neighbor. You can't donate clothes. You can't donate medicine. You can't donate food, let alone money. His speech.
Renan Santos' promises are very similar to those of the communists. So my brothers, this is just for you to get an idea. I could put Guto here, right? The other one too. Strong on their side with a lot of relevance, already elected by the way. Wanting to abort his own daughter, right? And still calls himself a Christian. So my brothers, with this kind of guy, that's why I'm working. I don't know if I'll make it. I'm pretty humble about this because I also depend on other factors. But I'm working hard to leave the country because I know what the future of our country here will be if MBL and guys like him come to power. Because people start to realize that the left is the problem, that the right is leftist. They'll look for something new, and what they find is just more members of the same system. That's what we're finding because that's what the MBL is. These guys, my brothers, if they come to power, I repeat to you, they would make this country twice as hellish. They would simply take everything and hand it over, and we would be left with nothing while they became real dictators, right? That's why, family, I'm really thinking about leaving the country because the context of this video is the following. Renan Santos, he knows he doesn't have any chance of winning. He knows he won't make it to the runoff. Davey, but he grew a lot. That just shows the people's outrage, right? To really compete, he knows himself that he doesn't stand a chance. That's exactly why he uses this kind of speech, to attract those more outraged people. Because, look, my brothers, did you notice, for example, that Flavio Bolsonaro, he started making speeches that are more, you know, more feminist, for example, in several ways he has, right? Made things more neutral, softer. Why does he do that? Because he knows that to beat these guys, you have to, right? The specialists there. So the guys give advice, like with this electorate, with this bubble we have, the bubbles we have, it's not possible to win. So what do I need to do to get into the other bubbles? They say you should speak more like this or that. That's where it comes from, right? I'm going to give cell phones to women. Flavio Bolsonaro is promising I'm going to give cell phones to women. I'm going to amend the Constitution to impose tougher sentences specifically for crimes against women. Killing, robbery, right? Because it's already in the Constitution, the law. Without discrimination, you stole, robbery, you stole, that's it. It's this much time in jail. You killed, it doesn't matter who. It's this much time in jail. He wants to change that to specifically make the laws, the sentences harsher if it's against a woman. So why does he make this speech? Because he knows that with the voters he has available today, he can't win. So he needs to get into these other bubbles and he starts saying these things. To me, that shows a weakness of character. when the guy already knows, right? That his voter base isn't enough and he doesn't make this speech, it's exactly because he already knows he can't win. Because his audience is too small. So, let's say Renan Santos, if he knows today that he has 9%, 5%, then what does he do? He intensifies even more. He doubles down. Arrested, killed. I don't know. He starts making these promises, you know, to get even more people so people can see, look, he's really going to do this. If he gets there, it's to win over that angry person, to win over those people who don't know much and know these things are unconstitutional. For example, a politician who came to you now and said, if I come to power, the law-abiding citizen with no criminal record will be able to arm themselves. That's a lie. He can't do that. Why? Because even if he makes a constitutional amendment, even if this amendment passes through the Senate, passes through the House, and gets approved, the gods of Olympus will judge it unconstitutional according to the law. Because we know the bias they have, and we also know what exists in our country that prevents this, which would be the disarmament statute. So, if the guy wanted to do that, he would have to make the right promises. Let's review this. Let's stop it. Let's impeach this. Let's go after this. Do you see that they don't talk like that? The thing is to make promises that are unconstitutional, that are impossible to fulfill, so why do they make them? To intensify this, to attract, to pull in these haters, let's put it that way. These people who are already upset with those in power and are looking for a third option, even if it doesn't make any sense. Renan knows this. So what's the big strategy behind this? Knowing that by attracting these haters, even if the number increases, let's say, that's when he reaches 18% in the polls. That's a lot. He knows that with that amount of votes, he becomes relevant. Look, this happened, for example, with Cabo Daciolo. Cabo Daciolo, in that election when we bet on him, right? Which was actually a very serious mistake. I apologize to you all here, right? But Cabo Daciolo had this strategy because he knew he wasn't going to win the presidency. But his idea was to get a good number of votes. And with that, you can bargain, put things in there. So that's what the MBL is aiming for now. They know they're not going to win. But, you know, with a significant number of votes, they could get a ministry or an appointment, you know, to be a minister of this or that. And especially in exchange for support, since we know there will be a second round. That's almost certain, right? There will be a runoff. So just imagine a guy who has 15%, 10% of the votes, how useful that would be, right? Support from this guy. So that's it, my brothers. That's what these guys are planning, and that's where my lack of hope for this country comes from. The MBL, whether you like it or not, the Mission Party, is made up of young guys who are on social media, who know how to communicate with the people. And sooner or later, my brothers, they will come to power. And that's the kind of disaster you're going to have around here. So that's exactly why I give you this advice, my brother. Look for ways to leave this country. This country here, it's under a curse. Yeah, so it's guys like this Chico Linguiça Canabrava, right, man? The way he talks, Kim this, Kim that, Kim is the guy, Kim. Catatanol is the guy who put alcohol in your fuel. He's the guy, my brother, who's gonna force you, if you have your older car, to buy these new ones, disposable ones, because that's what they are. You get these 3-cylinder cars, forgive me if you have one, congratulations on your achievement, but the product you have is disposable. Its engine is even made so it can't be overhauled. What's happening now, Fenomeno, my brothers, is because of this trash, this biodiesel. What's happening is that the flex fuel versions of pickup trucks are starting to get more expensive than the diesel version. Because before you would see the flex version, nobody wanted it because with a flex fuel car, the combustion, the engine detonation causes more wear on the parts than a diesel car. A diesel car can run for millions of kilometers, but a flex fuel car, you know, a flex car at 300,000 kilometers, that's already a lot. You already have to check if the engine isn't having some issues, you know. So for a car that's going to run a lot, to be used for heavy work, it has to be diesel. That's why pickup trucks that are worth a lot of money have always been diesel. But today, this is changing. Why? Because biodiesel, as the name itself says, is biological. So, when it goes into that closed, humid tank, you know, that environment, it starts to turn into bacteria to proliferate. And if that messes up the pump and the car's injectors, which are really expensive, this new Hilux is even turning into a Bomlux. Bomlux. And the Hilux, even the good Hiluxes, right? For example, a lot of people consider the best versions to be the 2009 one, the so-called cat face. From 2009 to 2015, there's no problem either. Why? Because this biodiesel stays in the tank, and if you're not the kind of guy who uses up a tank of fuel every day or every 2 days at most, this fuel starts to rot in your tank. I was watching that Boris, from Broome, and he was saying, look, the recommendation today for those of you who have a diesel pickup is to leave at most 2 liters. Then you park the car. All right, I'm not going to drive. I drove today, and I'll only drive again in 4 days, so you should leave 2 liters of diesel in that tank. Why? Because it prevents it from going bad, right? That large amount from going bad. But if you leave just 2 liters, right, of diesel in the tank, what happens? When you go to start this car, you're going to put stress on this system. The injectors and the pump will burn out. Why? Because there's little fuel. It's even risky to run out, right? 2 liters of fuel is very little, especially for the tanks of these pickup trucks, which are bigger. So we're literally between a rock and a hard place here, my brother. And it was with the vote of politicians, right? Like Kim himself, who was supposed to be the difference, who was supposed to be something new, right? Because we already know Nicholas voted in favor of this, the right, the entire left voted for this, and the one who wants to be the difference voted for this too. So that's what I tell you. If you're going to stay in this country, accept it, adapt to reality. For example, now the DMV is going to start, right? I've already told you this a while ago. The DMV is now going to start canceling the licenses of those who are in debt. If you owe on your credit card, took out a loan, couldn't pay, lost your job, something happened. If your credit record is flagged, you're going to lose your license. The DMV is going to start enforcing this. I had already said that the law was approved, that the gods of Olympus put this in place, all right? But that thing about uniting is going to start being enforced now. Today, you can't do anything else through the DMV. No, log into your account. Governor Era was supposed to make this possible. My brother is. So these damn guys who are doing this, who only think about themselves, only think about filling their pockets and spending right money and like that, Costenaro, right, reported this Chico Linguisa. The two had a heated argument, and he said that MBL, right, the Mission Party, holds meetings in brothels, right? He said it. But they're members themselves. These guys are as dirty as the PT, my brother. Trash.
Real trash.
He spent
money at the brothel, presidential candidate losing control. That's it. Hey, say it. Hey, you're pushing me. Hey, don't touch him, don't touch him, don't touch him.
This tough guy has a name. His name is Gabriel Costanaro. He's an outraged citizen from Rio.
Talk to me calmly here. I won't
talk to me.
Why don't you tell the truth then? Why don't you tell the truth? They wronged me. Why not tell the truth? They wronged me. I was wrong. I'm a scoundrel. You're not. Didn't you make the nightclub wait? Art, why did you guys agree to leave Igor Borges here working for you? It has nothing to do with it. It's going to show up in the video.
The staffer who should have been working for the councilman, working for the MBL presidential candidate, they made a deal not to fight publicly in exchange for positions. He received the money well.
Right? So you'd keep quiet. You sell yourself to everyone. Who did I sell myself to? Me? You said that Ricardo Nunes is involved with the PCC. You used to say, don't touch me, brother. You used to talk bad about the MBL. Now you're with them. A presidential candidate losing his cool. You're losing your cool. Oh, am I losing my cool? You called Ricardo Nunes a criminal, involved with the PCC, and now you're with him.
I sold out. I dare you to admit publicly that you used to talk about Mayor Ricardo Nunes and Milton Laite behind their backs. You won't, will you? Coward. Now you all have jobs in his city hall.
And the president of Mason, look, from MBL, bum, is the one who sells out to Ricardo Nunes, just like you did with your city hall. Am I the prostitute? You are!
You were the one who chatted with Ricardo. You used to hang around him. Me.
You asked for a job there like a whore. Oh.
Damn! Who did I ask for a job from? I wanted to go back to Rio de Janeiro because I couldn't stand the crap you guys were talking there. Ha!
Ha! Bum, get this bum out of here, huh?
Oh, really? Are you kicking me out? Why? Do you think you can just come to Rio de Janeiro and lie?
You want to be lying to her?
I asked. Say it. Hey, you're pushing me, man. Why are you pushing me, Renan?
Look at that. Oh, Rizzo's putting his hands on the cameraman. That's it, Rizzo. I'm losing my cool. Don't touch me. Don't lay a hand on me. Hey, I'm putting on a show. You're not man enough to debate. You like to debate when it's all arranged. Are we going to talk? Damn it. Why?
Because you're not a man. You sold out to Ricardo. Rizzo didn't. You did. Rizzo sold out, you piece of crap. When you come to Rio de Janeiro, you'll see me here showing how trashy you all are.
Bum!
Go.
The bum spent money.
On brothels. You spent donation money on brothels. Hey, 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 don't push me into him. Don't push me into him.
Now, the best part is that Renan wants to talk about this story publicly. Story. Just remember that I regret everything. You don't. John 8:11. Go and sin no more. But I challenge you to go on a podcast, you and me, and expose MBL's dirty secrets. Let's go? Will we show the meetings and brothels involving MBL's national coordinators? Who has more to lose, the presidential candidate or the guy who's going to get back at MBL? Are we going to expose everything, Renan?
I didn't even want to give this kind of scum a platform on our channel, right? And just to make it very clear here, I'd rather vote for an HIV-positive prostitute with discharge and inflammation down there than vote for Renan Santos. To me, he's lower and worse than a person like that. This guy is trash. God bless you, take care, and we're in this together. I'm out.